The year is 2052, and humanity stands at a crossroads. Decades of war, environmental collapse, and political chaos had left the world fractured. Yet, through it all, one thing remained constant: humanity's determination to survive and evolve. And now, that determination has led to the creation of the Titan, the most advanced warship ever conceived. It wasn't just a product of years of warfare. It was a masterpiece of human ingenuity, designed to carry humanity's hopes and dreams beyond the Earth. Built in secret on a remote space station orbiting Mars, the Titan was a culmination of the brightest minds from across the globe. The ship was armed with cutting-edge technologies that combined the best of artificial intelligence, alien technology scavenged from past encounters, and human-made innovations. Its sleek, metallic frame was reinforced with a hybrid armor capable of withstanding impacts from the strongest weapons the galaxy could throw at it. From the outside, the Titan appeared almost too perfect, a symbol of what humanity could accomplish when it set aside its differences. But within, the ship was a bustling hub of activity. Every inch of the colossal vessel had been meticulously designed, from its state-of-the-art command center to the advanced living quarters for the crew. Hundreds of people, from military personnel to engineers, navigators, and scientists, worked tirelessly around the clock, preparing for the mission that would define them all. Captain Evelyn Ward, a no-nonsense leader with a history of overcoming impossible odds, stood before the ship as it was unveiled to the world. The moment felt surreal, like the first step towards something far greater than anyone could have anticipated. Standing beside her, General Marcus Kane, the head of Earth's military forces, offered her a rare, approving nod. "This ship will change everything," he said, his voice steady but carrying the weight of years of preparation. "Not just for us, but for everyone. It's time the galaxy sees what we're capable of." As the ship's massive engines powered up, the Titan began its first test run. On board, the crew watched in awe as their ship moved into space with an ease they had never witnessed before. There were no tremors or jolts, no sudden jerks as they had feared. Instead, the ship glided smoothly, effortlessly, as if the universe itself had made way for them. It was a ship born not of desperation but of hope, one that represented the future of humanity. For Captain Ward and her crew, the test was the beginning of a new chapter, one they couldn't have possibly prepared for. The crew was calm, but beneath the surface, the anxiety was palpable. They weren't just testing the ship's capabilities. They were preparing for something far more daunting, an unknown mission into deep space, into the void where no human had gone before. As the Titan ascended beyond Earth's atmosphere, Captain Ward surveyed the view of her home planet. Below her, the world seemed peaceful, almost serene. But she knew better. Earth was on the edge of something much bigger, and whatever awaited them in the depths of the galaxy could either make or break their entire species. The Titan was humanity's answer to the unknown, and she had every intention of proving that Earth was no longer just a blip in the cosmos. It was ready to claim its place among the stars. The crew gathered at their stations, monitoring every sensor and reading, ensuring the ship performed flawlessly. But as they left the orbit of Earth, a sudden shift in the system's sensors caught their attention. A strange signal, an artificial frequency, not of human origin, began to pulse from the depths of space. It was faint at first, but unmistakable. Someone, or something, was out there, waiting. The Titan was ready for anything, or so they thought. The signal was unlike anything humanity had encountered before. It was neither a natural occurrence nor a random anomaly. It was purposeful, rhythmic, and undeniably artificial. Captain Evelyn Ward stood in the command center, staring at the data as it streamed across the holographic displays. Her mind raced. What could this mean? Was it a message from an advanced civilization? A beacon? Or something far more sinister? General Marcus Kane, standing beside her, broke the silence. "Could it be from this rack?" he asked, referring to an alien race humanity had clashed with decades earlier. The Zrak had been a ruthless species, leaving Earth scared after a failed war for dominance. But that conflict had ended years ago, and since then, Earth had been largely at peace. Ward shook her head, her fingers dancing across the control panel, trying to decode the signal. This doesn't match their technology. It's too clean, too advanced. Whoever, or whatever, sent this is unlike anything we've encountered. The signal's frequency pulsed every few seconds, as though it was waiting for something. The crew's anticipation grew with each passing moment. Every sensor on the ship, every tool they had at their disposal, began working overtime to analyze and translate the transmission. But despite the best efforts of the crew, it remained an enigma. The ship's AI, Athena, offered a suggestion. "Captain, I am attempting to isolate the pattern in the signal. It may take several hours to fully decode. However, I suggest we adjust course towards the source. The signal's direction is clear, and it appears to be emanating from a system approximately 4 light-years away." Ward glanced at the star charts displayed before her. The location Athena referred to was beyond the known frontier of the galaxy, a place uncharted by any human vessel. It was a system no one had ever considered exploring. "Set a course for the source of the signal," Ward ordered. "Prepare the crew for a long journey. We don't know what we're walking into." With the course set, the Titan's engines fired, propelling them toward the distant system. As the ship glided through the stars, the signal grew louder, more urgent, almost as if it were calling them. The crew spent the next few hours in tense silence, each person lost in their own thoughts, preparing for what lay ahead. While the crew continued their work, Ward took a moment to reflect. Her mind kept returning to one thought. The signal was not random. Whoever or whatever had sent it had to know humanity was listening. Was it an invitation, a warning, or was it a test, a challenge to prove that humanity had evolved into something worth acknowledging? The crew's unease began to bubble to the surface. The vastness of space had always been a source of both awe and fear, but now, with the possibility of encountering a new, unknown species, the weight of the situation settled heavily upon their shoulders. The silence of the ship seemed to grow louder as the journey continued. Hours turned into days as the Titan navigated through the darkness of deep space, its sleek hull cutting through the void. During this time, the signal became more complex, shifting in tone and rhythm. The crew continued their attempts to decode it, but each attempt only deepened the mystery. By the time they reached the edge of the star system, Ward felt a chill run down her spine. They were close, too close. The signal's frequency was now unmistakable, almost as if it was reaching directly into their minds, urging them forward. The vast, cold silence of the cosmos seemed to amplify every heartbeat, every breath. "This is it," Ward whispered to herself. She turned to the crew, now gathered in the bridge. "Prepare for immediate entry into the system. Maintain heightened alert." As the Titan moved into the system, a sudden flare of energy illuminated the dark void. It was not a star, too sudden, too bright, but rather an enormous, shadowy mass moving through space, and behind it, the source of the signal was revealed, a fleet of ships, colossal in size, unlike anything humanity had seen before. These were no ordinary vessels. Their dark, sleek forms were alive with energy, pulsating with unnatural light. The ship's AI, Athena, warned, "Captain, incoming ships detected. Their numbers are overwhelming." Ward's pulse quickened as she surveyed the fleet before her. The signal had led them right into the heart of an alien armada, and the question now was clear. Had humanity just stepped into the unknown, or had they unwittingly walked straight into a battle for their survival? The massive fleet loomed ahead, its dark silhouette blocking out the stars. The sheer scale of the alien armada was staggering. There were no visible markings or flags on the ships, just vast, imposing shapes drifting silently through space. The closer the Titan got, the more unsettling the sight became. It was as though the ships were waiting, patiently, deliberately, for something. Captain Evelyn Ward's pulse quickened as she stood at the command center, her eyes scanning the holoscreen that displayed the fleet in real time. The entire bridge crew was silent, each person processing the same shocking reality. They were not alone in the universe, and what they had encountered was no small exploratory vessel. This was an invasion force. "Captain," Athena's calm, yet urgent voice broke the tense silence. "I've detected movement. The ships are aligning in a formation, preparing for something. It's not clear what yet, but their energy signatures suggest they're powering up." Ward didn't hesitate. "Shut down all non-essential systems. Go dark. We don't know what they're planning." She turned to General Marcus Kane, who had taken his position at the strategic console. "We need to know everything about those ships. Can we identify any weaknesses?" Kane's fingers flew over the console, his face set in concentration. "These ships are unlike anything we've seen before. Their energy shields are unlike ours, more like an organic barrier. There's no standard weapons signature. It's almost as if they've adapted to every form of attack we've developed." Ward frowned. "So we're facing something beyond our technology." "Great." She stared at the fleet, each ship growing larger as they closed the distance. Then, without warning, the silence of space shattered as the lead ship fired a blast of energy, a sudden streak of light cutting through the void. The Titan shook violently as the blast collided with the ship's shields, sending shockwaves through the hull. The sound was deafening inside the ship, like the roar of a beast trying to break its chains. "Shields at 75%, Athena reported, engaging countermeasures. However, the alien weaponry is far more advanced than anticipated." Ward didn't need to hear more. "Return fire. All weapons, full power." Immediately, the Titan responded, its cannons lighting up with precision as beams of energy shot toward the alien fleet. But as the blasts hit their targets, they didn't have the expected effect. The energy beams scattered harmlessly against the alien ship's hulls, leaving only faint glimmers of light. The ships absorbed the strikes as if the energy was nothing more than a mild inconvenience. "We're not getting through their defenses," Ward shouted, her eyes fixed on the view outside the bridge. "Pull back, get us out of here." Before she could finish, another barrage of fire erupted from the alien fleet, this time with multiple ships targeting the Titan. The massive warship lurched as the blasts collided with its hull, shaking the crew to their core. The ship's eye struggled to compensate, but the sheer intensity of the attack was overwhelming. Ward's heart raced. Her fingers gripped the armrests of her chair, her mind running through countless scenarios. There was no way they could outrun this fleet, not with the ship's systems still being pushed to their limits. They had one choice: fight. "We can't just sit here and wait to be destroyed," she muttered. She turned to her tactical officer, Lieutenant Harris. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Initiate Phase 1 of our counteroffensive." "Aye, Captain," Harris replied, his voice steady despite the chaos. Within seconds, the Titan was darting and weaving through the incoming fire, narrowly avoiding devastating hits. The ship's engines roared as they pushed past their limits, and the crew held on tight as the warship danced through the firestorm. Ward's eyes stayed locked on the enemy fleet, looking for any sign of weakness, any opening they could exploit. Then, out of the corner of her eye, Ward saw it: an anomaly. One of the alien ships, smaller than the rest, had broken away from the formation and was approaching the Titan at high speed. It wasn't like the others. Its structure was sleeker, more angular, with energy coursing through its exterior like veins of light. "Athena, analyze that ship," Ward ordered quickly. "What's its status?" "I'm detecting unusual energy patterns," Athena responded. "It seems to be scanning us. It's trying to make contact, Captain." Ward's instincts told her this was no ordinary attack. The alien ship was communicating, not just firing blindly. Her gut told her they were dealing with something. Someone who wanted more than just destruction. It wanted answers. "Hold fire for now," she ordered. "Let's see what it wants." Suddenly, the alien ship's hull shimmered, and then, for the first time, a clear message crackled over the comms in a series of strange, distorted tones. The AI struggled to translate it, but a single word cut through the static, chilling in its simplicity: surrender. The word surrender echoed across the bridge of the Titan, its simplicity carrying a weight that sent a chill through the crew. Captain Evelyn Ward's eyes narrowed. She hadn't expected communication of any kind, let alone this demand for surrender. The alien fleet had just launched a fierce attack, and now they were asking for humanity to bow down without a single word of negotiation. "Captain, I recommend a firm response," General Marcus Kane said, his voice steady but tinged with frustration. "We cannot show weakness. Not now." Ward stood tall, her mind racing. The situation was escalating fast, and there wasn't time for indecision. "Athena, do you have any way of translating their message more clearly?" she asked. The AI's voice came back calm but strained. "The message is broken, Captain. However, I am picking up distinct patterns of language within the transmission. It seems they are offering us a choice: submit or face complete annihilation." Ward didn't flinch. Her thoughts were focused on the massive alien fleet, each ship looming like a death sentence in the void. She was fully aware that the odds were against them, and the Titan was taking hit after hit. But surrender? Not on her watch. "Prepare countermeasures," she ordered. "If they want to fight, they'll get one. Lieutenant Harris, launch drones and set weapons to full power. We're going to make them regret underestimating us." "Aye, Captain," Harris replied, his fingers flying over the controls. The crew worked with precision, moving quickly to launch a volley of drones from the ship's hold. Each drone was equipped with high-tech, self-guided weaponry capable of delivering devastating blows to the alien ships. With the Titan's cannons already firing at maximum power, the drones launched in a calculated strike, zigzagging across the battlefield and converging on the alien armada. The alien ships, however, weren't as easy to destroy as humanity had hoped. The drones hit their targets, but the energy shields surrounding the alien vessels absorbed the impact as if the drones were little more than raindrops. Ward clenched her jaw, frustration building in her chest. They needed a new strategy. She couldn't afford to let this fight go on forever. As the Titan took evasive maneuvers to dodge incoming fire, Ward's eyes suddenly landed on the smaller, sleek alien ship that had broken from the formation. The one that had spoken the message of surrender. It was no longer firing but hovering, almost as if it was waiting. Almost as if it was studying the Titan, waiting for the crew to make the next move. "Athena, bring up everything we know on that ship," Ward ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. The ship's AI quickly complied. "The ship in question has unusual energy signatures. It seems to be a command vessel, possibly linked to the leadership of this fleet. It is also the only ship not engaging in aggressive action. It appears to be waiting." Ward took a deep breath. It wasn't a mistake. The smaller ship wasn't hostile. It was observing, gauging, and possibly communicating. There was something else at play here, something the rest of the fleet wasn't showing. It was their opportunity. "Hold fire. All stations, stop firing." Ward's voice rang out across the bridge. She turned toward General Kane. "We're going to try something different." Kane looked at her, his brow furrowed. "Are you sure?" "They're not giving us any other choice, Captain. We're fighting for our lives." "I know," Ward replied, her voice firm. "But if we can communicate with the command ship, we might avoid the worst of this. If we surrender now, we lose everything. Let's see if we can find out what they really want." Ward gave the order to initiate communication with the alien command vessel. The screens flickered as the interface connected, and for a moment, the bridge crew held their collective breath. On the view screen, the smaller ship appeared in sharp detail, its glowing hull now closer than ever. Then, the distorted tones returned, this time, clearer than before. The voice, though alien, was recognizable. It was not a demand this time, but a request. "Human vessel," the voice echoed, deep and resonant. "You stand before us, not as prey but as an equal. We are the Vornak, and we seek to understand your species, your resilience. Your defenses are impressive, but your actions today have proven you are more than we assumed. Explain your resolve." Ward stood tall, her voice calm but commanding as she responded. "We will never surrender. Humanity is not a species to be controlled or cowed. We fight not out of fear, but out of strength, and we stand ready to protect our world, our people, and our future." There was a pause, and the voice responded. A worthy response. "We have not encountered such resistance before. We offer a choice, Captain. You may join us, or you may face the full might of our fleet." Ward's mind raced. This wasn't an ordinary invasion. The Vornak weren't just here to conquer. They were testing humanity. She could feel it. The tension in the air, the weight of this moment. The fate of Earth hung in the balance. But Ward knew that humanity's strength wasn't just in its technology. It was in its spirit, its will to never back down. "We choose to fight," she said, her voice unwavering, "and we will never bow to anyone." The alien voice was silent for a moment, as though it were processing Captain Ward's words. The tension in the air was thick, each second dragging on like an eternity. The bridge crew watched the view screen intently, waiting for the Vornak response. Then the voice returned, deep and measured. "We see the fire in your spirit, human. This will not be easy. You will fight, but you will not be alone." The voice paused, as if it had more to say but chose its words carefully. "Prepare yourselves, for the challenge you face is unlike any you have ever encountered." Before Ward could respond, the alien fleet shifted. One by one, the ships began to rearrange, leaving a clear path in the center, a path leading directly to the heart of the Vornak Armada. At the same time, the smaller command vessel that had been speaking to them slowly moved forward, its hull glowing with an eerie, pulsating light. "Athena, what are they doing?" Ward asked, her eyes fixed on the alien fleet. The sudden change in formation made it clear that something important was about to happen. "I am unable to determine their exact intentions, Captain," Athena replied, her voice calm but tinged with uncertainty. "However, I detect a massive energy surge emanating from the command vessel. It seems they are preparing something, but I cannot calculate what that might be." Ward's instincts flared. The Vornak were not just testing humanity's strength. They were preparing for something far more dangerous. She glanced at General Kane, whose face had gone pale as he watched the fleet's movements. "We need to be ready for anything. Get the defensive systems online. All crew to battle stations. This could be the beginning of something much worse than we thought." Kane nodded and issued the orders, his voice steady despite the uncertainty of the situation. "All hands, braced for impact. We're about to find out exactly what the Vornak want from us." The seconds stretched, and the energy in the command center became electric with anticipation. Outside, the Titan remained locked in the heart of the alien fleet, its massive guns trained on the surrounding ships, ready to unleash devastation if the need arose. But Ward knew that they couldn't just shoot their way out of this situation. They needed to understand the Vornak's true intentions. Finally, the alien vessel spoke again, its tone different now, almost respectful. "We will test you, human. You will prove your worth. But know this, should you fail, Earth will fall, and you will become nothing more than a memory. We offer no mercy." The voice faded, and suddenly, a massive hologram appeared in front of the Titan, a swirling vortex of energy. It wasn't like anything Ward had ever seen before. The vortex spun and pulsed with energy, the colors shifting like liquid metal, while tendrils of light shot out in all directions. It looked like a gate, an interdimensional portal, opening right before their eyes. "Captain, I'm detecting a massive power surge," Athena warned. "The vortex is destabilizing. Its gravitational pull is increasing exponentially. It's pulling us in." Ward's heart raced as the gravity of the situation dawned on her. The Vornak weren't just testing humanity. They were forcing them into a trial. a trial that could either prove humanity's worth or destroy them. "Prepare for impact," Ward barked, slamming her hand on the console. "Brace yourselves, everyone. We're entering the vortex." The Titan's engines roared to life as the crew worked feverishly to stabilize the ship, but the vortex's gravitational pull was stronger than anything they had ever encountered. The ship lurched violently, its shields flickering as the crew struggled to maintain control. "We can't hold against this force for long," Lieutenant Harris shouted from the weapons station, his voice strained. "The vortex is dragging us in. Our engines won't be enough to escape it." Ward's mind raced. This was a test, no doubt. The Vornak were forcing them into a challenge that would determine the fate of humanity. But Ward wasn't about to let them dictate the terms. "Athena, can you reverse the gravitational pull of the vortex? Any way to disrupt it?" "I'm attempting to recalibrate the ship's gravitational stabilizers, Captain," Athena responded. "But the energy required is beyond anything our current systems can handle. The vortex's energy is overwhelming our defenses." Ward gritted her teeth. There was only one option left. She turned to General Kane. "Prepare the ship for a direct assault on the vortex. We have to fight our way through." Kane's face was grim, but he nodded in agreement. "Aye, Captain. We'll need to push the Titan beyond its limits." Ward looked to the crew, their eyes wide with uncertainty but filled with resolve. Humanity had fought its way through worse. They had faced extinction before and emerged stronger for it. And now they faced another test, one that would either propel them into the stars or crush them beneath the weight of an alien empire. "We are not going down without a fight," Ward declared, her voice fierce. "All hands, prepare for the most dangerous mission humanity has ever faced. We will prove our worth. We will survive this." The ship surged forward into the swirling vortex, its weapons powered up, ready to unleash everything they had. The future of humanity hung in the balance. There was no turning back now. The vortex sucked the Titan deeper into its gravitational pull, its outer hull groaning under the immense pressure. The once calming hum of the engines now sounded like a strained scream as the ship fought to break free from the impossible force. Every display on the bridge flickered erratically, and the crew gripped their stations as the ship was violently tossed about in the swirling chaos. "Shields at 30%, Athena warned, her voice strained with the weight of the situation. "The vortex's energy is destabilizing our systems. We have mere minutes before total systems failure." Ward's heart raced as she gripped the armrests of her chair. This wasn't just a trial, it was a fight for survival. The vortex was more than an obstacle. It was a trap designed to break them. But Ward wasn't about to surrender to it. Not now. Not ever. "Lieutenant Harris, take the helm," she commanded. "Push the engines to maximum. We need to break through this vortex, or we'll be lost in the void forever." Harris quickly moved to the helm, his hands shaking as he engaged the ship's engines to full power. The ship jolted forward, the warp core firing at its limit. But the vortex fought back, its gravity intensifying, attempting to pull the massive warship into the swirling abyss at its core. "Captain, I'm detecting something up ahead," Athena said, her tone now laced with urgency. "A massive energy source at the center of the vortex. It looks like a gateway, but its energy is unlike anything we've ever seen. It could be the key to our survival or our destruction." Ward's mind raced as she surveyed the readings. Whatever that energy source was, it was their only hope. But getting to it would require them to brave the heart of the vortex, a place that even the Titan's advanced technology struggled to survive. She exchanged a quick glance with General Kane, who nodded grimly, knowing that this was their one shot. "Full speed ahead," Ward shouted, her voice a commanding roar. "We're going for that energy source. All weapons, prepare to fire on my mark. If we don't make it through, this is our final stand." The ship accelerated, its engines screeching in protest as they pushed the Titan through the unrelenting pull of the vortex. Every second felt like an eternity. The crew held their breath as the ship flew closer to the mysterious energy source. The vortex was alive, thrumming with energy, its dark tendrils reaching out like the hands of a beast trying to drag them down into its core. Then, in an instant, they were there. The ship shot through the swirling mass, emerging into an open space unlike anything Ward had ever seen. The vortex's gravitational pull released its hold, and for a moment, the Titan hung in a strange, still silence. Ahead of them, a colossal structure loomed, an enormous crystalline spire, radiating a blinding light. This isn't just a gateway," Ward whispered, her eyes wide with disbelief. The spire pulsed with energy, and the entire area shimmered with power. "It's some kind of ancient device." "Athena, what is that thing?" Ward demanded. "I'm not sure, Captain," Athena replied. "The structure's energy signature is ancient, far older than anything we've encountered. It appears to be a form of transportation, possibly interdimensional in nature. It's likely the Vornak's way of testing us." As if on cue, the Vornak command vessel appeared before the Titan, its eerie glow now flickering as if reacting to the appearance of the spire. A moment later, the alien fleet aligned in perfect formation, surrounding the Titan in a defensive perimeter. The voice of the Vornak came again, this time calm and almost respectful. "You have passed the first trial, human, but you are not yet worthy. To prove your strength, you must face what lies within the spire. Only those who survive will be deemed worthy to stand alongside the Vornak." Ward's stomach churned as she realized the truth of the situation. This was no simple fight. The spire was a test, a final trial to determine humanity's worth, and they would have to enter it if they had any hope of surviving this encounter. "We accept your challenge," Ward said, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. "Prepare the crew. We're going inside." The Titan slowly maneuvered toward the base of the spire, its hull now in range of the massive structure. The entire bridge crew was silent, each person bracing for the unknown as the ship neared the entrance to the structure. The alien fleet remained stationary, as if watching in anticipation. "What do we face in there?" General Kane asked, his voice low as he stared at the glowing spire. "We face whatever the Vornak deem necessary to test us," Ward replied, her eyes fixed on the entrance ahead. "It could be anything, but we're not turning back now. Humanity's survival depends on us proving ourselves." As the Titan neared the spire's entrance, the structure's surface rippled like liquid, and a massive door slid open, revealing a dark interior. The ship slowly glided inside, and the bridge crew exchanged one last look, knowing that the next few moments would determine not only their fates but the fate of all of humanity. The Titan moved slowly into the dark interior of the spire, the immense doorway closing behind them with a low, resonating thrum. The ship was enveloped in a strange, unnatural stillness, its once loud engines now reduced to a soft hum, as though even the ship itself was holding its breath. The walls of the spire were smooth, made of an otherworldly material that seemed to absorb the light, casting long, eerie shadows across the deck. "Captain, I'm not detecting any life signs," Athena reported, her voice almost a whisper, "but the energy readings are off the charts. This place is like nothing we've encountered before. It's as if it's alive." Ward stood at the center of the bridge, her gaze steady and determined. She knew they were walking into the unknown, but there was no turning back now. Humanity had already committed to this path. They had to face whatever lay ahead and prove their worth, or face extinction. "General Kane," Ward said, her voice calm but resolute, "prepare the crew. Whatever's in here, we'll face it together. I won't let this ship or this crew fall." Kane gave her a sharp nod. "Understood, Captain. We're ready for anything." As the Titan ventured deeper into the spire, the air grew colder. The temperature in the bridge dropped, and the crew could feel the shift. It was as though they were entering another world entirely. Every step they took inside the spire seemed to weigh more heavily, the ship's engines straining to maintain their course. Suddenly, the spire's interior came alive. Lights flickered to life along the walls, revealing vast, cavernous spaces that stretched out in every direction. It was like entering the belly of an ancient beast, and Ward couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, monitored by something far more intelligent than they could understand. Athena's voice pierced the tension. "Captain, I'm picking up strange signals. They're not coming from the alien fleet. It's as if something is responding to our presence. I'm trying to translate it." Ward's breath caught as the walls of the spire began to pulse with a rhythmic, almost heartbeat-like pattern. The lights flickered, and a deep rumble echoed through the structure. The ship shuddered as if reacting to the energy in the air, its systems struggling to keep up. Then, as if on cue, a massive holographic projection sprang to life in the center of the ship's command center, taking up the entire screen. It was an image of the Vornak leader, a towering dark figure that radiated power and authority. The alien's face was impassive, but its presence alone was enough to make the crew tense. "Human," the Vornak leader's voice boomed, filling the room. "You have entered the heart of the trial. This is where your fate will be decided. The spire contains the trial of endurance, a test of will, strength, and spirit. Only those who survive may be deemed worthy to join the Vornak in our conquest of the stars." Ward stepped forward, her voice unwavering. "We're not here to join you. We're here to survive." The Vornak leader's cold, calculating gaze seemed to settle on her through the hologram. "Survival is not enough, Captain Ward. Only those who can overcome the greatest of challenges may stand beside us. Fail, and your species will be wiped from existence." The image flickered, and the hologram vanished. The ship shook once more, this time harder, as if an invisible force was pushing against the Titan. The walls of the spire began to glow brighter, and the air hummed with an ominous energy. "Brace yourselves," Ward shouted, grabbing hold of the nearest console as the ship lurched again. The force was too much for the ship's systems to handle. Alarms blared throughout the ship, signaling a breach in the hull. "Captain, we've lost power to our outer shields," Athena called out. "The pressure from the energy field is overwhelming our systems. We're vulnerable." Ward clenched her fists, her mind racing. They were being attacked from all sides, but this wasn't just a physical threat. It was a test. The Vornak weren't interested in simple destruction. They wanted to break humanity's spirit, to see if they could endure the impossible. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," Ward barked. "Recalibrate the shields. We can't let this thing break us." The Titan bucked and jolted as the ship tried to stabilize itself, the once steady hum of the engines now a strained growl. It was as if the spire itself was alive, its very walls pushing against the ship, testing its limits. The air on the bridge grew thick with tension as the crew scrambled to keep the ship intact. Then, just as quickly as the assault had begun, the pressure released. The ship fell into a sudden, eerie stillness. The crew stood frozen, unsure if the trial had ended or if it was just beginning. Ward exhaled slowly, her hands still gripping the console. "What the hell was that?" she muttered under her breath. "The trial of endurance," Athena replied, her voice low. "It's testing every aspect of the Titan, its strength, its power, its ability to survive. And it's testing the crew as well. Then we'll pass it," Ward said firmly, turning to General Kane. "Whatever comes next, we face it. We're not backing down." The hologram of the Vornak leader appeared once more, its cold gaze locked onto Ward. "Survive," the voice echoed. "Only those who endure will be allowed to leave." The lights in the spire flashed brightly, and the crew braced for whatever the next trial would bring. The stillness in the spire was suffocating. The crew of the Titan had barely recovered from the violent onslaught that had threatened to tear them apart. Sweat beaded on their brows as they awaited the next trial, hearts pounding in their chests. The ship groaned, its hull creaking under the pressure of the unknown. Then, without warning, the spire's walls began to pulse once more, this time with an eerie rhythmic thrum. The air grew heavier, charged with a palpable energy, as if something immense was about to emerge. A low hum filled the room, growing louder by the second, until it seemed to reverberate through the very core of the ship. Ward's eyes darted to the view screen. At first, all she saw was a dark blur, but then shapes began to form within the swirling mass of light. They were like shadows, shifting and flickering, their forms undefined, but unmistakably alive. "Captain, we're not alone," Athena said, her voice filled with dread. "I'm detecting multiple life forms inside the spire. They're coming toward us." Ward's heart raced. This was it, the final trial. Whatever the Vornak had planned for them, they would have to face it head-on. She had no illusions about the magnitude of the challenge. The Vornak weren't just testing their strength or their technology. They were testing their spirit, their courage, and their will to survive. "General Kane, prepare for combat," Ward ordered. "We don't know what's coming, but we'll be ready." The crew scrambled to their stations, weapon systems coming online, and battle stations being activated. The tension was thick, the weight of their fate hanging over them. The enemy, the unknown, was coming. A sudden explosion shook the ship, and the entire bridge trembled. Ward's grip tightened on the console as the ship lurched violently. The lights flickered, and alarms blared once more, signaling that they were under attack. "Brace for impact," Ward shouted. "This is it. Whatever's in here, we're going to face it now." The view screen cleared, revealing the dark shapes that had emerged from the spire. They were no longer mere shadows. The figures took form, humanoid yet alien, their bodies elongated and fluid, with glowing eyes that seemed to pierce the darkness. They were massive, taller than any human, and their armor shimmered with an otherworldly light. These were the guardians of the spire, beings created to test those who dared to enter. "These aren't just tests of strength," General Kane said, his voice grim as he surveyed the incoming enemies. "They're living trials. We have to defeat them to prove our worth." The first wave of the alien guardians advanced, their movements fluid and deliberate. They didn't speak. They simply moved with terrifying precision, each one an embodiment of the trial the Vornak had set for humanity. The crew of the Titan readied their weapons, knowing that their lives, and the fate of Earth, rested on their ability to survive this final trial. Ward turned to her crew, her voice unwavering. "We will fight. We will survive. And we will prove that humanity is worthy of a place among the stars." As the Guardians closed in, the Titan's weapon systems unleashed a barrage of fire. Energy beams and missiles streaked toward the alien figures, but they were faster than expected, their movements blurring as they dodged the incoming fire with ease. "We're not going to take them down with conventional weapons," Athena warned. "Their shields are too strong. We need a new strategy." Ward's mind raced. The Vornak were forcing them to think outside the box. This wasn't just a test of firepower. It was a test of ingenuity, adaptability, and teamwork. "Disrupt their energy fields," Ward ordered. "Target their power sources. Take out their shields first." The crew responded with precision, shifting their focus from direct assault to targeted strikes. The ship's weapons adjusted, firing concentrated beams at the energy fields surrounding the Guardians. The Guardians faltered for a moment, their shields flickering, giving the crew a brief opening. General Kane's voice cut through the chaos. "Now's our chance. Fire everything we've got." The ship's main weapons fired in unison, sending a devastating volley of energy blasts into the Guardians. One by one, their shields collapsed, and their armor began to crack under the intense assault. But the Guardians were relentless. They pushed forward, their eyes burning with an alien fury, as if determined to test humanity's resolve to the bitter end. Ward gritted her teeth. "We won't let them break us." With a final, coordinated strike, the Titan's weapon systems hit the Guardians' central power cores, sending shockwaves through the spire. The Guardians' bodies crumpled to the ground, their forms disintegrating into glowing energy particles. The lights in the spire flickered once more, then faded into darkness. For a moment, there was silence. The ship's systems were still malfunctioning, alarms ringing across the bridge. But the crew had made it through. They had passed the final trial. "Athena, what's our status?" Ward asked, her voice calm but filled with anticipation. "All systems are returning online, Captain," Athena replied, her voice almost relieved. "The energy field has dissipated. We've completed the trial." Ward let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. They had done it. Against all odds, they had survived the trial set before them by the Vornak. But the journey was far from over. The alien fleet still hovered outside, watching, waiting. And now, humanity had proven that it was not only capable of surviving the harshest of trials, it was capable of rising above them. The Vornak had their answer. Humanity was ready.